Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Self-love through freedom and connection. So feel free to connect to The Brave Never Fall on these social media platforms. If you find anything of value in this following podcast, hit that like button, subscribe and share, and support the brave and bold tribe growing one purposeful soul at a time. There are no coincidences in life. The strength you have is real. Each breath you take is a blessing. Don't give up, give more. Believe in yourself and trust yourself. How are you feeling? Take a moment to do a self-check-in for yourself. How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling spiritually? Are you feeling balanced? Are you still journeying on an intentional, purposeful path? How are you feeling? Balancing yourself is a healthy daily practice that will reliably keep you in harmony with your entire mind, body, heart, and soul. Clear your mind. Take a moment of silence for yourself right now in the moment. You are here now. How are you feeling? Just because a journey can be traveled alone, that doesn't exclude the benefits of traveling with another. Traveling alone has its benefits. Being with someone else on that journey has its benefits. And the more the merrier. The more we have, the better opportunities we have, the better rate of success we have of completing the task. But what is that task? Is that task a collective task, or is it an individual task, or is it a combination? Only each individual knows what their combination is. Do we truly need people around us to reach our personal goals, to fulfill our personal purpose? Or is our personal goals and purpose interlocked with the lives of others and what their goals and their purposes. I truly believe it's a combination of all these things. But truly, we can only get to where we need to get to by acknowledging what we have to do to be the strongest versions of ourselves, so we can help our group, the people who we are with, our teammates, be the strongest versions of themselves. We are allies. We are allies to ourselves, and we are allies to those who count on us. We don't want to be weak links in the chain. We want to be the strongest versions of that chain. We want to be the strongest versions of that link. And the only way we get there is by knowing what is the purpose of the chain. What is the purpose of the link? We are both the link and the chain for ourselves, and it starts with us. But that doesn't mean we can't connect with someone who is on the exact same quest for purpose and peace and fulfillment as we are. And again, the more the merrier. Strength in numbers. We all answer the call for ourselves and for those we trust the most. Teammate, a fellow member of a team. Those who have the willpower, strength, and fortitude to confidently walk and run their journey of life alone make that choice, or surrender to that situation, becoming the reality without choosing. The reality is simple. That person has accepted to face the challenges of life, no matter how brief or how long, without hesitation, excuses, or fear. They surrender to answering the call of their purpose. The unknown becomes a beacon, the light a guide, and that's all they need. Life, just like any journey, will have unexpected situations, and they will arise often, as well as unexpected guests. Some of these guests have good intentions, others do not, and it's up to the traveler to trust themselves enough to know the difference between them, to see the benefits, the positive attributes of the guests, as well as what drives them to move forward on their journey. We are a guest in their journey as well, and the same questions will be asked of us. At some point, a mutual agreement, whether spoken or unspoken, is made to continue traveling as far as possible together, separating when the time calls for it, or one of the guests being jettisoned and left behind due to mistrust, negativity, and moving in the wrong direction. Unlike paths on a road, where two separate paths may converge into one, our paths will always be our own, unique and separate, despite how close they get to one another. That is what keeps us free, yet connected. Connected to our greatest teammate, our life partner, soul partner, best friend. We walk our paths side by side in the direction of purpose, answering the call of each of our lives freely, yet aiding the other when they need it and surrendering to their aid when we need it. It's all about balance, respect, trust, loyalty, commitment, and communication, laughter, leveling up, and life. Free, but also very gratefully connected. Cincinnatus, Episode 9, Teammate. This particular topic is very rooted in the beginnings of The Brave Never Fall. It was one of the first things that popped into my mind, going all the way back to 2017 when I had my quote-unquote awakening. I always say quote-unquote because, maybe woo-woo stuff or whatever, but for me, it was truly an awakening. It was me having connected in one moment, my mind, my body, my heart, and my soul all just lined up perfectly from who I was at that time. And it made me realize and see clearly and be able to listen and hear, and I just felt different in that moment. And I wasn't searching for that moment. That moment happened, and when it did, it made me realize something instantly. you have a lot of work to do. It was like coming out of a fog, and I knew I was actually looking in the mirror when this happened. David Goggins, one of my favorite people in the world. If you don't know who David Goggins is, I talk about him a lot on here. I'll put a link in the description below of one of my favorite motivational videos of all time, ever. This will get you going. If you listen to this motivational video, and I'll put in the link in the description below, I listen to it on my runs. If you don't know, I'm a marathon runner as well as a life coach. And one of the things I love about that motivational video is that it's all rooted in who you are and holding yourself accountable, but facing yourself in the mirror and changing what you don't like about yourself immediately. Not saying I got this amount of time to do it. Just say, no, I'm starting today in this moment right now. What don't I like when I look in this mirror? And I remember having that moment, and I realized one of my biggest issues I had was that even though I was surrounded by people, I had never felt so alone in my entire life. I was alone in that moment, but in my life, the circle of friends, my family members, a lot of the people that I worked with, a lot of things in my life that I thought was my life, I realized didn't aid me at all. And in fact, some of the things that I hated about myself, I realized I had lost myself with taking bits and pieces of all these attributes of other people. Not to say that these people are necessarily bad or wrong. It's just, it wasn't me. And I realized who you align with is so vital to your happiness. And if you're not aligned with the right person, forget people, person. Think about the closest person to you in your life. And it could be anyone. Only you know who that person is. You know if that person is good for you or bad for you. We don't have to. If you have to sit and wonder, they probably aren't good for you. Because you should know if somebody's good for you and they are truly on your side and have your back. And they may piss you off, they may aggravate you, but you know truly, no matter what happens, this person has your back and they will never leave you. Because they know you won't do that to them. And that is the thing. The Brave Never Fall was really started on one of the things that I always remembered playing in my mind was never invest in anyone who isn't invested in you. Never invest in anyone who is not invested in you. Because that's how we know when people really care. When we feel we have an equal exchange. People don't like to look at relationships in any way, shape, or form, whether it's friend or a romantic relationship or a family relationship. We don't want to look at them as business, in business terms, I should say. We don't want to look at someone that we love or care for, or someone we feel like we have their back, and we say, listen, I need more from you. Because if you go to a job, we all have worked before. If you have a boss, is it okay not to give that boss what they are paying you to give or to perform? If you have a boss that says, I need you to do A, B, and C, and you're doing D, E, and F, do you think you're going to keep that job for very long? Probably not. But if you are confident in yourself, you hold the same expectations for that particular employer as well. Your boss should be giving you things that you need. If you don't have the supplies that you need, you don't have the training that you need, if you don't have whatever, if you're asking for D and F and they only are giving you A, B, and C, you see what the problem is. We're on the line. That relationship is not going to work. But we know this at work and we won't accept anything else. But when we come home and we get close to people who are looking to get through life and be happy, and they're living in our household, or they go to the same church, or they go to the same school, or they're at work with us, the people who we are around the most, because you're not around your employer. I mean, we are around our employers a lot, but you don't have, it's not a lifetime thing if you don't want it to be. Anybody can quit a job anytime they want. If you're in a relationship with someone, and this person is asking for A, B, and C, and you want D, and not D, E, and F, why is there this divide? And is this person truly the person you think they are, or are you the problem? And this is where going back in that mirror is so important, because we can't always just look at other people and say, they're the problem. I'm right. They're wrong. We have to bring it back down to ourselves first, examine who we are first, then we have the tools we need to examine our relationships. From our point of view, we cannot, no matter how much we feel we know someone else, we cannot take someone else and say, hey, I know exactly what you're feeling. I know exactly how you're doing. Now, we can show some empathy, but that surface level, if you really want to get into someone's private life, you got to become almost a therapist if they're not willing to share everything with you. So what do? Exactly what we should always do. Go to the mirror and look at yourself, because that's the only thing we can control. But if we looked at relationships and who we have by our side, the same way we do all these random people that really don't matter in our lives as much as we believe that they do, yes, a boss is very important for our lives. That's how we get our money. So if you have a boss, it's very important that you have a relationship with that boss. But why do we feel the need to impress our bosses more than we feel the need to impress our loved ones who are closest to us? Why do we need to feel the need to impress strangers who are doing a service for us? Who might do something for us. So we pay somebody to do a job, or there's a family member that comes into town and they help you with something. We're super nice to them. They're giving us something. But it's short-lived. And we know that. We don't have to keep up the act of being so appreciative, and because you can't keep it up. Or can we? I believe we can. And I believe the act of bursting into, hey, I appreciate you and thank you so much and you're helping me so much, but at the same time ignoring the people who are there for you every single day, I think that's a problem. And having a good teammate is a good way to examine this. Now, if you think about a sports team, can you have a sports team where someone on the team is deliberately not giving their all and they don't care? What would we say about that person? What does the media say about this person? If you're a sports fan and you watch ESPN, what do they say about teams where there's someone on the team who isn't a quote-unquote team player? They will go out of their way to make sure you understand why that is so important that they become a team player, because they need this person to win. And you can plug in any sport. Well, if you take something like boxing, you're just facing someone across the ring. It's all on you, right? Or is it? You still have a team that trained you. You have to be a team player. You have to listen to the instructions. You have to have the tools. Again, this goes back to that relationship, that business relationship with the boss, right? You want to be a professional boxer, you got to listen to your trainer. The trainer has to listen to the manager. The manager has to listen to the promoter. We all have what we call the link in the chain. We're all a link. We're linked to something unless we don't want to be. We sever the link and we choose to be independent. A link with no chain. What do you call that? And what is the purpose? What is the purpose of a link with no chain? Especially if it's been severed. These are things we have to think about. And we also have to ask ourselves the questions. Do we even care? Some people don't care about being a link in a chain, and that's perfectly fine as well. That goes back to, let's bring this down to pairing, because we're going to talk about unity in the next episode. So let's just talk about couples. We're going to talk about teammate, just two people. You're going to have one person with you on your journey, just one. If you could pick one person on your journey, what would that person's attributes be? If you could choose them. I mean, this is fun to think about. We don't always have a chance to do this. So let's use our imagination. What would that person be like? If you could custom make a person to be exactly what you want, as one of my family members calls a soultie. This is not a bestie, a soultie. Someone who is your soulmate, your best friend, your partner, your spouse. Or maybe it's just a good friend. Just a solid friend for life. Again, a bestie. If you could make this person, if someone could say, hey, come over here, just like the Build-A-Bear shop, and build your best version of a teammate for life for yourself. And no matter what happens, this person is going to be by your side at all times. You have to ask yourself who and what that person would fill in all the blanks and check all the boxes for you, as far as your definition of someone who would encourage you, inspire you, give you aid, and trust you, and you could be intimate with if you had to be in a relationship. Someone you can talk to, communicate to, someone you can trust that is gonna go beyond the expectations of even what you thought they could be. Because again, if we go back to this business relationship, to your boss, can you get a bonus from your boss if you're only doing exactly what your job's doing, right? You usually get the bonus when you're doing something extra. It's called going above and beyond the call of duty. And I talk about answering the call all the time. One of my things in life is exceeding people's expectations. But it has nothing to do with them. It's about me. Again, we're bringing it back to the individual. We talk about self-love on The Brave Never Fall a lot for a reason. Because you have to love to exceed your own expectations of who you are. And that will inevitably and seamlessly and effortlessly go towards you exceeding other people's expectations, because people have such low expectations of everyone around them anyway. So there's no need to impress anyone else. You only need to exceed your expectations for yourself. You only need to exceed your expectations for yourself. Because once you commit to that idea, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do within limits, within the limitations of what you create. So what are those limits, and do you have any? And how do you know what they are if you haven't pushed yourself? How many excuses have to be made before you realize you have more room to grow? How many times does accountability and ownership have to be ignored for you to realize you have more room to grow? How many sabotage relationships and how many failed goals and aspirations and dreams have to be burnt in flames for you before you realize you have more room to grow? Getting back to David Goggins for a second. He will be the first one to tell you. And again, I won't spend time talking about his journey. Please go look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about here. But he didn't get to be where he was. This ultra marathon runner, this super Marine who went through 3 hell weeks. I should say Navy SEAL, not Marine. Gets through 3 hell weeks. He's running marathons, ultra marathons on broken feet and ankles, and he doesn't stop. He's breaking world records and pull-ups. You may say, well, he can do all that himself. Bullshit. He'll be the first one to tell you every single one of those opportunities came because someone gave it to him and he stepped to the challenge to go above and beyond even what he thought he could do. He went above and beyond the call of duty, and that's what it's all about. Now imagine if you could create someone, if you had this mindset, if you could create someone to walk beside you for the rest of your life that had the exact same mindset as you. Think about the pairing of that. That's a soultie. You don't have to agree on everything. You don't have to sing Kumbaya by the campfire. You don't have to take vacations together. You don't have to be together all the time. You just have to know each other exists. You just have to know that you two are tethered to each other because of the right reasons. This isn't about codependency. This isn't about lifelong marriages. This is about connection. I talk about The Brave Never Fall. I talk about connecting a lot. And then one of the reasons why I talk about that so much is because it's important. It's important to know how to connect to people, but through the lens of knowing that you have to do the work on yourself first in order to properly connect to people. To know that you're not perfect, that you will always have something you need to work on. Now imagine having someone walk beside you, a teammate, a partner that has that same mindset. A partner who's not going to make excuses, who is not going to sit back and say at every single failure, it's someone else's fault. Every time they make a goal, they take 5 steps forward and say, screw this goal, I didn't get what I wanted fast enough. Or it wasn't enough. I don't make enough money. I don't have enough clothes. I want a bigger house. I want a better church. I want a better dog. I want a better husband, wife, children. Always looking for what's better instead of appreciating what they have in their life in that moment. And improving on the things that actually can be improved upon in real time. Think about how simple that was. What about focusing on the things that we can improve upon in real time and have the aid of someone beside us to help us and we can help them? Now imagine that concept. One of the reasons why we have such high divorce rates in this world is because of a lack of that true connection through individual accountability. It's too easy to get a divorce now. There's no room to work anything out. It's too easy for someone to say, hey, goodbye, and they walk away. Same with friendships. It's so easy now because we can get on the internet and find another friend in 5 seconds. Even with dating, you can date someone, go on 3 days, oh, it's great, and this person's like, don't like you. And I don't feel any hesitation about it because I can just get back on the Tinder tonight and I can find me somebody else. Bye. That shit stings. It hurts. It's not fun. So what do we do about it? One of the things we can do about it, again, you can go back to that mirror. And we can block out a lot of the distractions that we have in life when it comes to our purpose. Because it gets lost. It gets muddied when we start aligning ourselves again with people who are distracting us from what we need to be working on. Or maybe even persuading us not to focus on ourselves so much and focus on things that they're more worried about. But we don't know this. That's called deception, manipulation, and narcissism. We have to take a moment to step back and say, what is our mental health like? Do I know how to respond to negative situations appropriately? Am I the type of person who is going to run every single time a problem comes up? Or point the finger at someone else every time I don't get what I want? Am I suffering from some type of disorder? Do I have really bad anxiety? Do I have really bad depression? What is going on with me? These are things in 2017 that I knew I needed to solve for myself, but didn't even know where to start. But the first thing I started with was the one thing you can control. Because as I looked in the mirror, I didn't like my weight. I was fat. And I had to tell myself that in order to get over it. I couldn't sit back and I remember, this is so, when I was married, my ex-wife's friend, as blunt as you can possibly be, we were at my son's second birthday party. And I remember my hair was balding. And I didn't know this. I was in denial. I was in my early 30s. And my hair decided, goodbye, Mr. Tiger. I was a hairless tiger. At least partially at the time. And I decided at my son's second birthday party to do my hair. And I put some gel in it and I thought I was looking good. She walks up to me and she says, "Hey, don't you ever do that with your hair again." And I'm like, and she says it in front of my cousins, everyone. I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, "Don't you ever do that with your hair again." Now, I'm thinking, again, that I walked out of the house looking fly. I thought I looked good. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then I got a little self-conscious and went to, man, this drink going right through me. Let me go to the bathroom. Everybody knew I was going to the bathroom. They want to see I wanted to check and see, what's she talking about? I looked in there and I bit my head down and I could see, the hair on the top of my head was thinning so much that I had some George Jefferson action going. So and I went home the next day and I shaved my head bald, and I've been bald ever since. And the reason why I've been bald ever since is because I looked in the mirror that day and realized that is what I needed to do for myself, because she wasn't lying to me. She was telling me the truth. My hair looked absolutely fucking ridiculous that day. And this is at my son's birthday party, and I was in complete denial. And I remember saying to myself, you need to be brutally honest about your hair, bro, and you need to cut it off. No more hair. And I haven't. Since then, I've been bald ever since. I've been a bald tiger. That same girl at a birthday party. This time, check this out. This time it was my birthday party. And I'm sitting up here and she says, what's wrong with you? I said, what do you mean? She says, you're fat. I said, I'm fat. I work out every day. I lift weights. I take creatine. I take testosterone. I'm good. She goes, no, I think you're fat. I said, it's muscle. She said, no, you're fat. Whatever. And I remember going up to the bedroom, looking in the mirror, and I was like, I took my shirt off. I actually looked in the mirror and I thought, yeah, you're fat. But at that time, I just went ahead and said, nope, it's muscle. I just need to get some of I'm skinny fat. So when I woke up in 2017, I realized in that mirror, when I had that enlightenment moment and I realized I needed to change some things, that moment will always come back to me, and I always would thank her for saying those things to me, because that's how I should have been speaking to myself. And to this day, I refer to people like that as little angels. They're teammates. These are people you want in your life. You want people to tell you the truth. And she was brutally honest, and she was right. I was fat. And when I woke up that day, looking in the mirror in 2017, I realized it's time to make a change, and I started with that. And to ensure that I did it, I actually enrolled that very day into the National Academy of Sports Medicine and started working on my personal trainer certification, because I knew if I could get to the certification, not only would it teach me how to get my nutrition right, I also was a nutrition specialist. If I can get my nutrition right and get my weight right through exercise and healthy exercise, functional fitness, things that you can do functionally, and get certified, if I put money into this, it would ensure that I lose the weight. And I did. I lost almost 35 pounds. It wasn't overnight. It took about a year and a half. But I did it the right way, and I lost the weight. And like any person, when you start ballooning up and down, sometimes I go up, sometimes I go down. But when I realized I could run, it kept the weight off. It led me to different things. Had I not lost the weight, I never would have became a marathon runner. And it all came from someone being brutally honest with me and saying, you're fat. Now, I'm not saying as individuals we should walk around saying it to people, but she said it to me because she knew I could take it. She's not a bad person. She wasn't an ignorant person. She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met. She said it because she was trying to help me. She's trying to help me with my ridiculous haircut. She was trying to help me with my weight, because she knew I can do better. And that is what we're looking for. We're looking for people like that. Someone who can call you out on your bullshit, but also help you find a solution, and they'll be by your side to help you and praise you when you complete your mission. A teammate is not about tearing you down. Being a teammate is about you doing your part for that other person, and they're going to do their part for you. That is a teammate. It's about not letting each other down, finding the strengths of one person and the weakness of the other, and vice versa, and filling in the blanks so we can become better as two people. You're not going to be strong in every area in your life. You're not going to be weak in every area of your life. We have to find out what these strengths and weaknesses are and how they align with other people. Where you're weak in one area, this person may be super strong in the other, and vice versa. But how do you know if you don't work on yourself first? So being a teammate is not about just latching on to somebody who's strong while we're weak and afraid and haven't done our homework. We have to do our homework too. And that goes into, again, we talk about divorces. There's a thing about why don't people reconcile after they get a divorce? There are a lot of, and I'm using divorce as a framework here because it is a union of two people who thought that they were going to be lifetime teammates, soulties. And somehow along the way, they ended up parting their ways. Now, every situation is different, but I'm using it as a very general term. Just think about it if there was laws out there that says, hey, you can only separate for 3 years, but you got to go and do this and this. And then after that time, if you don't think you can be together, then you're officially divorced. If there was work to be done afterwards and you had to prove that it just wasn't going to work, divorce rates wouldn't be as high. But since everyone can just run away like roaches when they want to, well, there you go. But just think about it. What if you were divorced and there was a law that says, now you two go work on yourselves for 3 years. Let's say 2 years. Go work on yourselves for 2 years. You can't remarry. You can't get divorced. We want you to go to therapy for this amount of time. It's mandated. And then after that, we'll sit you two down and we'll have someone who will speak to you. If you guys don't have it figured out then you can do it. You have to have time to meet. You can't date. You can't do anything. If we find out you've been dating or doing anything, think about that. Probably be less people trying to get married at that point, but also a lot less people trying to get divorced. Because the government says they're not going to pay for all that shit either. You got to pay for it yourself. These are things that, I say these things, I use as an example because we are in marriage-like situations with all types of people without the rings and a piece of paper. You are married to your friends. You're married to your family. You're married to your bosses. You're married to your children, your dogs, your cats, your earthworm collection, whatever the hell it is, you're married to it. You're connected to it. You're bonded to it. You're linked to it. And there aren't any laws that says you have to do this, this, and this. But what is the point of being connected to anything if it doesn't mean anything? What is the point to being connected to anything if it doesn't mean anything? Everything we do should have a meaning. It should have a purpose. Every connection we have should have a purpose. Every relationship we have should have a purpose. And if it doesn't, we need to either assign the meaning, find the meaning, or jettison the meaning. And if we aren't doing all those things, then we have lost ourselves in the very construct, the very concept of what it is we're binded to. And if we're only going to be in a relationship with a friend or a pastor, a teacher, or whoever, if every time we have some type of a teammate, the benefit only comes on us and we're not looking for things we can do for the other person, genuinely looking for what we can do for the other person, then you failed at that as well. You have failed ourselves and we have failed them. We owe the people who rely on us the same thing we will want from them. We are not on this planet to become leeches off of people who are making us feel happy. We should leech off ourselves. We gain happiness from our own happiness. The teammate part comes to, that's a bonus. Again, going back to that business relationship, that is the bonus. That is your teammate, your friend, your soulmate, your spouse, your mother, your father, your daughter, your son, your pastor, your teacher. These people are going above and beyond the call of duty in your life if they're still around, or you wouldn't have them around. What are you doing? Are you holding yourself accountable? What part are you playing? And does it have meaning? And does it have purpose? Or otherwise, what does it mean? Pledge with me. I am the strongest person I know. I am alive for a reason. I pledge to stand on my values. I pledge to set and reinforce healthy boundaries. I pledge to keep pushing forward. I am not a victim. I am not without purpose. I pledge to continue to create the life I want. I pledge to grow beyond my current self. I pledge to commit to myself unconditionally because I am the strongest person I know. I will always be the strongest person I know. I pledge to continue to create and, if need be, recreate the blueprint of my life. I pledge to accept and face any challenge and obstacle that comes my way because I am the strongest person I know. I pledge I will remain who I am here and now and going forward because I am the strongest person I know. This is your day. You are here now. These are your moments. You own them. You are brave, bold, powerful. You do believe in yourself. You know you have more in the tank. You know the glass is half full. There's still more room for improvement. There is no end. Believe, believe, believe in yourself. Trust yourself. Trust that you can do whatever it takes to accomplish whatever you want from life. You don't procrastinate. You don't embellish. You don't lie. You are true to yourself always. Knowledge is in your mind. Peace is in your heart. Balance is in your body. Purpose is in your soul. You are greatness. The sky is not the limit. You have purpose, fulfilling, intentful purpose. You are here for a reason. You are unique. You are self-love, self-discipline, self-respect, self-control. You have self-awareness. You are joy, peace, and happiness. You are freedom, and yet connected to every person, place, and thing in the universe. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.